Hello Aries, and welcome to your July 2025 tarot card reading. I'm sorry these are so late. Just dealing with health issues in June sent me way behind. So we're going to carry this over into August a little bit as well, just to kind of make up for the lost time that we have here. So July into August, next 4 to 5 weeks or so, this reading will apply. Okay, so it's not just for July itself. All right, so let's go ahead and see what comes through here for Aries. What is it that you need to know for the next 4 to 5 weeks? We have the Five of Cups, the World, Three of Coins, Queen of Cups, Three of Cups. Okay. So here's the deal. Five of Cups really suggests some kind of release, letting go. We don't always have the best feelings about it, though. Sometimes it can be a sad thing. We can experience grief, resentment, regret, that type of thing. But at the end of the day, there's really not a lot we can do. I think it's just a matter of accepting that things have not worked out, or things have not gone in that direction, or it wasn't meant for you, or whatever. That's one of the hardest things about this card, I think, is the acceptance that, like, no matter how hard you try, no matter how much effort you put in, no matter how much dedication and commitment you give, it's just never going to come back to you. And so even though you have still a very full heart and all the best intentions, it's time for you to turn around and look at what's still standing here, which are these remaining Two of Cups. And this could be in any regard. It could be a professional endeavor. It could be a friendship. It could be a romantic relationship. It could be a family situation. It could be a money thing, whatever the case is. But there's always an undertone of optimism here with this card, because it gives you the chance to free yourself of certain burdens. Because I think there have been burdens, whether it is a past trauma, right, or a past karmic pattern or cycle that you've been caught in or something like that. But it's time for radical detachment and radical change, especially now that we have Uranus officially moved into Gemini. There's just going to be a lot of detachment in general, not to mention Jupiter in Cancer also really speaks to freedom from this emotional baggage, so to speak, okay? And Aries, I think that you truly are ready here with this World card. See, and that's the thing, is that the World card, he's looking over here, but the world opening, the new opportunities, all he has to do is turn around. Aries, you're going to have to turn around to see. You're going to have to turn around to walk through that quote unquote portal. Okay, now when I use the word portal, I don't like it all the time when we use it in this sort of tarot space, because it makes it sound like it's some big magical mystical thing. It's not really. It's just an opportunity for changes to happen. That's all. Okay, it's an opportunity for changes to occur more easily without resistance. But you have to be willing to embrace that, and you have to be willing to take accountability. And that's the thing with Saturn being in Aries, is there's a lot of that going on, right? We take on the personal responsibility that is required for us to have the type of life that we want to have. And clearly there was something that and the thing is that with this card, it's not that you didn't give it your all. It's not that you didn't really try. It's not that you didn't have the right intentions. It's just that it wasn't for you. It wasn't meant for you. It wasn't your person. It wasn't this. It wasn't that. And that is okay. And that's the thing, is that there's a lot of acceptance here. And Uranus moving into Gemini, I think, is really going to help us to find significant degrees of freedom from those attachments, and help us to see that the world is changing, and that our world is changing and can change, right? That we are not locked into anything, and we do not have to keep repeating the same thing over and over. Now, there are likely going to be new relationships, or maybe existing ones, but these are going to be really productive relationships, okay? These are conversations and collaborations and projects and things that really lean into the direction that you want to go. Okay, so it sounds like you're kind of trading the effort that is spent on these 3 spilled cups now toward kind of erecting new structures in your life. Okay, there's a lot of building things with the Three of Coins. It is productive, it is efficient, it is effective, and it does like to see results. And Aries right now, I think that's one thing that's weighing very heavy on that Three of Cups. Well, I say Three of Cups because the three are spilled here, but it really is the Five of Cups. I'm sorry about that. But when the thing that weighs heavy with the Five of Cups is that you never got the results, or you never got the thing that you were supposed to get from it, right? And with the Three of Coins, when we shift focus and we shift our dedication, we start to say, well, maybe there are other means, right? It's not that you can't have what you want. It's that the path that you were taking likely wasn't right for you. Maybe it didn't really make you happy. Maybe you felt like you were forcing yourself, or you weren't being authentic, or you just were in this state of drudgery and you just kept it going for whatever reason. But here, it feels more aligned with your talents and your skills, your natural affinities, the things that just come to you, the thing that feels organic, the thing that feels true for you. And you get to work with other people, right? You get to work with people who know what they're doing, who know what they want. You get to collaborate, you get to sign contracts, you get to make deals happen, and you get to move forward. And I think that's the thing with July, is it really is so much about moving forward. And with the Queen of Cups, I think your intuition is really strong in that it is guiding you in a powerful way right now. But I think this is also asking you to do some maybe drastically different things. And we see that with the World card. Like when you're crossing this threshold here or walking through this portal, it means you're taking opportunities that you may have never taken before. There's a lot of new things that come with this World card, because this is an ending, but with every ending there is a new beginning. It's not an old beginning, right? It's not an old beginning that you've already lived before. It's a new one. And your intuition is guiding you, and it is strong. And I will tell you that that is the greatest form of self-care that you could possibly engage in right now, is to do different things, to shake up your routine a bit, especially with Mars in this conjunction with the South Node. I think it's apparent, right? Mars in Virgo with the South Node, it's apparent that certain habits have got to go. It's apparent that a certain routine does not serve. And with Uranus now in Gemini in the third house, there's a craving for movement and expansion. Your intuition is not going to let you down, and your need for self-care means doing challenging different things. Shaking it up, out of the box. Maybe a bit mentally challenging, emotionally taxing, that kind of thing. But if it's different, it's probably good. Now with the Three of Cups, I like the Three of Cups with the Three of Coins because it does signify a social connection, social groups, right? Connecting with people that celebrate you. Now, some of you have a lot of friends, some of you don't. You may have gone through somewhat of a period of isolation while Saturn was in Pisces. There does tend to often be that sense of withdrawal when you have heavy 12th house transits like that. But I think now that Saturn and Neptune are in your sign, and we have Uranus in the third, Pluto in the 11th, right? Third house, 11th house. These are very social houses. It's community, it's humanity, it's friends, it's associations, it's clubs and groups and neighborhoods and things like that. And I think it's important for you to be engaged. Now, I'm not saying you have to completely change your whole life and just go out and be social all day long, but I am saying that having a solid group of friends, a solid group of emotional supporters is going to go a long way. Because sometimes if we're trying to cross this threshold all by ourselves, the tendency to revert back is a little bit stronger because no one's going to know, right? If you have this goal to get from point A to point B and you don't tell anyone about it and you don't have people cheering you on, then if something goes wrong and something makes you uncomfortable and you struggle a little bit with self-motivation or something, then you can just kind of crawl back and keep life exactly the same and no one's the wiser. But if you have people that, I'm not going to say these people are holding you accountable or anything, because I don't think they are. They're just here to say, like, Aries, I know you can do it. Aries, I know that, life has been a certain way, and now it's time for you to really experience whatever it is that you have planned for yourself, right? It's time for you to do that. It's time for you to let this go, to release this pattern, and to really embrace where your life is headed. And to have people in your corner, it means a lot. And I think it can go a long way for you. Okay? So let's see what else comes through. We have the Five of Wands, Knight of Coins, Seven of Cups, the Fool. See, I like the Fool with the World card because this is definitely the new beginning with the ending. So they're both showing up through July and August. So you're definitely going to start to feel that sense of things turning around, the sense that things are going to start to accelerate, especially in areas where you have felt like you have been just hung up, tied upside down with like literally no power, right? This is the end of the reading. I don't want to jump too far ahead, but let's go back to the Five of Wands. Your life might get a little chaotic though. That's something I think we always try to shy away from. And I think there has been over the past decade or so a pretty major push for people to just have serenity in their lives, for people to just have peace and stability and security in things. But there come moments where we have to really embrace the shakeup. We have to embrace the ripples that are caused when we make big moves. And I would say a World card is a signifier of a big move. The world happens because you detach from one thing and you start gravitating toward another. And that transition stirs the pot a little bit. Now, this could involve other people. It could mean that you decide to really throw yourself into something. And yes, that process of learning and acclimating can also be very taxing and challenging. But see, I think Aries is ready for a challenge. Not a challenge that's going to suck the life out of you, but a challenge that motivates you, a challenge that gets you to actually get up off the couch and go do the things that you've always said you were going to do, and you were trying. And that's the thing that's so frustrating here. It's just that the way that you were going about doing it, or the people with whom you were trying to do it, like it just wasn't right. It wasn't right. It wasn't the right fit. And it almost kind of feels like you were trying to force a square peg into a round hole. But now you find alignment, and I see that with the World card. And especially when you have other people who are high quality individuals that you can surround yourself with, that understand that Aries is throwing themselves in the fire right now a little bit because they feel like they have to. Because this state of competition, dealing with people, like I think there's been a lot of avoidance on this stuff lately. But if you really want to grow, you're going to have to throw yourself into that, because you're going to need people. You're going to need clients. You're going to need, people to date. You're going to need people to go out, whatever. You're going to need people. And if it's uncomfortable, this is maybe one of the things that you're avoiding. But this is you on the playing field, okay? We're not trying to sit on the periphery here. We're not just trying to sit in the dugout the whole time. We want to actually come up to bat and actually try to hit some points, right? So this is the competition itself. This is the game. And I see Aries throwing themselves into the game and saying, all right, I am going to go do this. I am going to go make this happen. And I do think there is passion, there is fire, there is determination, there is excitement. There is a lot of things that start to come up for you the moment you start to release whatever this is. There is something weighing very heavy on your heart right now. Maybe you don't feel the best about yourself. Maybe you don't feel worthy. Maybe you feel like you failed, all these things. But once you start relieving yourself of the burden of those narratives, you start to feel more free and empowered to go make those bold moves. And when you start making bold moves, that's when you start seeing your life change. Now, there's still a method to the madness, however, with the Knight of Coins. There's chaos, but it's controlled, right? It is thought out, it is strategic, it is purposeful and intentional. And this is something that you just kind of move forward on a day-to-day basis with. And I think you also start to reevaluate your own inherent value a little bit as well, where you start to look at yourself and say, I can do better. And you start holding yourself to a stricter standard. Now, I'm not saying you have to live your life like super, super strict all the time with everything, but your standards are very strict, right? Your expectations of yourself, you hold yourself to them and you keep them. There's a sense of honor and a sense of pride with what you're doing. And I'll be honest with you, I'm wondering if what it was you were doing before maybe made you feel a little bit of a lack of self-respect because you just kept giving yourself to something that wasn't working. And you felt that that reflected back on you, which it doesn't, but it's hard for us to make that distinction. That's why the detachment is so positive here, okay? And there's no, I mean, there's still like questions and still things you don't know. I'm not saying you have all the answers at this point. In fact, I think you have very little answers, but all you know is that you can't keep doing it this way anymore. So you're going to have to shake it up. You're going to have to get on the playing field here with this Five of Wands, and you're going to need people to help back you up. Because this portal, it is a portal and it is an opportunity. It's a little bit of time that we get to take advantage of, but that does close. The energy does shift. And so we want to take advantage of it now. And I think this has a lot to do with the Mars South Node conjunction that's going on. Okay. So yes, there are going to be a lot of, questions, and there's still kind of a distorted view, and maybe we're not entirely clear with everything, but I don't think Aries is going to let that stop them from taking the big leap. And I actually think there is going to be a big leap throughout July and August. Something really different. And if there's not, I think you should create something. If something doesn't just come in and land in your lap, you should create something. And I say you should because I think it would be good for you. I think it would be good for you. In my opinion, it would be good for you. It would be good for the sake of the goal. Good for the sake of just kind of creating novelty in your life a little bit. Okay, because I think that you have been kind of hung. And again, I still like there's going to be a lot of unknowns with this. And you're just going to have to deal with that fact. You don't really have that type of control over things right now, but you do have control over yourself. You have control over how you live your life, how you show up, how you give to your clients, to your family members, to your spouse, to your community. And these are the things that are under evaluation right now. But the thing is that it does have to be modified, right? You were probably already doing that in some way, shape, or form, but now we really have to modify it. Okay? So we're making big modifications here. And with the Hanged Man, there's often this notion that you're coming into a higher consciousness of things, higher understanding, higher degrees of wisdom. And, you don't really know what that looks like yet, but just know that that is happening. Okay. And that by taking advantage of this quote unquote portal, you are elevating and transcending your current circumstances, so long as that is coupled with a big, bold action. Okay, and it may not even really be, it could be, for some reason, the act of service here comes through really strong with me with the Knight of Coins. I often see my Knight of Coins as being very, it's a Virgo card, so it's service oriented. And I feel like by being of service, and I don't mean like we have to draw the line here. Being of service does not mean you're a martyr or you're a victim or you overly give and self-sacrifice, right? It means that you come from a place of resources in some way, shape, or form, whether that's knowledge, whether it's money, whether it's experience, whether it's certain abilities, right? Whatever, but you come from a place of abundance, and it is your calling to share, and that it is actually the giving that creates the receiving. And I'm wondering if this here was you out there trying to get something without realizing that it was actually your giving that would get you what you needed, if that makes sense. Okay, let's go ahead and pull out the oracle cards. I usually do these at the beginning, but I wanted to do them at the end this month. So Aries, what is it that you need to know for July? We start with the Eagle Spirit, which says Spirit has your back. And that's why you don't need to spend a lot of time asking a lot of questions and kind of mulling around in the nitty gritty details of things. You know, like if you're trying to, well, I don't know that it matters. It's just, I was going to give an example, but we don't need any examples. It's just go for it. You're never going to know. You don't need to know. It doesn't matter. It's just time for you to go for it with the Fool. And with Uranus and Gemini, I think that energy is starting to heighten a little bit. And it may not be like super electric right out of the gate, just because with this Mars South Node conjunction and the Saturn Neptune conjunction, it still may feel like a little, like off-putting, but he's still going to be like, Uranus is still going to say, we need change and we need things to start moving faster. So you may still feel a little bit of doubt and all that kind of thing, but the determination to make things happen and make those changes is going to be really strong. So what else for Aries? We have meditate and contemplate. Which, meditation and contemplation is really good for strategy, especially with that Three of Coins, because we're not trying to waste our time. We're not trying to, it's good to think ahead. It's good to open our minds. It's good to be in a receptive place. It's good to connect with our intuition, as we see with the Queen of Cups. It's good to connect with that kind of higher guidance with the Eagle Spirit there. But we are trying to come up with strategies and actions that we can take that are paths of least resistance, that are different enough that they're not going to take us down the same roads that we've been down before, and that are going to start opening doors for us, as opposed to making us feel like we're banging our head against the wall and still not getting anywhere. Okay? All right, let's go ahead and pull out the clarifiers, Aries. We're going to start with the Five of Cups. So what is it that Aries needs to know about the Five of Cups? So if you want to join me for the clarifiers, we do that in the comprehensive reading, and the link for that is in the description box and the comment thread down below. Okay, so we start with the Nine of Cups, Strength, another Five of Cups. So I'm going to pull out one more since we got a repeat. And Seven of Coins. Okay, starting with the World, we have the Nine of Wands, 10 of Wands, and Temperance. I like the stoic nature of Temperance. Five of Swords, Judgment, Three of Swords, Magician, Emperor, and another World card. Lots of major arcana clarifying that Queen of Cups. So that's a powerful Queen of Cups. With the Three of Cups, we have the Devil, we have the Sun, and the Page. Okay, interesting. King of Wands, it's definitely Aryan energy. 10 of Coins, Page of Swords, in it to win it, Aries. Knight of Wands, Four of Swords, Two of Wands, Six of Coins, Six of Wands, and a Knight of Swords. Seven of Cups, Knight of Cups, Three of Cups. Three of Coins, Six of Cups, Page of Wands, and 8 of Cups. All right, so this is where we're going to pick up in the comprehensive. So if you want to join, you are more than welcome. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you. Have a great July, and I'll talk to you soon.